Hi, I'm Lisa Gwynn, and I'm here to show you how to run a search in Splunk, and more importantly, how to use the results that come back from your search. I'm on the Splunk summary page, which is where you come when you first log into Splunk. And I have some data in Splunk. I assume that you do too. Here I have about 117,000 events, and they go back to Monday, June 28th, 2010. So that's some pretty old events in there. It's unlikely that I want to search that far back, so the first thing that I need to do is on the right side of the screen, I need to choose a time selector that's appropriate for what I'm looking for. And in fact, I'm going to look back on the last 24 hours because there's been a problem with one of my servers and I need to look up that failure. So I'm going to choose last 24 hours, and in the box I'm going to type the word fail and hit return. So let's see what Splunk finds. No matching events found. Well, that doesn't make sense. What happened? Well, here's some search tips that will help you get started. First, everything is searchable in Splunk, but Splunk isn't searching for the characters FAIL. Splunk is searching by search terms or words. So Splunk was looking for the word FAIL. Search terms are case insensitive, so Splunk's going to find fail whether it's lowercase, uppercase, mixed case, that doesn't matter. But Splunk is not going to find failure, failed, fails, or any of the other variations. If I want the variations on the word fail, I need to add the star. That's the wild card. Also, if I want to make my search more restrictive, I can add more things to the search box. I can search for fail and NFS. So I automatically get an and in between if I use multiple search terms. If I want to say or, I have to use the word or. The third example here, it says error or 404. So this will return events that have either the word error in them or the term 404. But notice or has to be uppercase. If you make it lowercase, then Splunk is going to look for the word OR. I can also use parentheses and even quotation marks to make my search a little bit more sophisticated. So let's try it again. This time I'm going to type fail star. Show me not just the word fail, but anything with fail in it. Now I get about 1,292 events, and I can see exactly what made those events match. So I can see that these first 5 that I can easily see on the screen all have the word failed in them. And it does have an uppercase F, but it matches. What am I looking at? Well, first, I've highlighted in blue the actual data from the event. So I can see that this event says there was a failed password for an invalid user named Angel. Well, where did that come from? For every event, Splunk labels the event with its source, which file did it come from, or if it came from a network port, which network port did it come from, or even which script did it come from, since data could come from a lot of different places for Splunk. It also tells me which host this data came from. Very interesting, because if I had a failure, I'd want to know which host had the failure. That's very important data. And then the third thing that Splunk tells me is the source type, which is the category of data. So Splunk categorizes the data based on where it came from and what the data looks like. The fourth thing I can see, in addition to my data, is what I call the normalized timestamp. Because you can see in the data itself, it says that something happened Wednesday, January 4th at 23:27. So almost midnight. Well, that's wherever it was in the time zone of host www2. But in my time zone, my local time zone, that was 9:27 p.m. So you can ask Splunk to always show you the events in your current time zone, which is nice when you have events coming from all over the world. It's going to put the time in a single way so it can time sequence it from newest event to oldest event, making it easy for you to see in what order things happened. So this is great. But I can't really work with 1,292 events. And in fact, the event that really concerned me the most are the ones for someone trying to break in as the root user. Because in Linux, that would be pretty significant if you could break in as the super user. So I just want to see those. Notice on the second event, it is for the user root. So if I mouse over the word root, it highlights. I can click on it, and Splunk will automatically drill down and show me just the 23 events in the last day for the root user. So notice it added root to my search automatically. I can click on it again to go back and remove it from the search. I can also say that I want to eliminate certain things from the search. If I don't care about events that are coming from the host named network syslog1, that's not a host I'm worried about, then I can hold down the Alt key and click, and that will show me events that are not from host network syslog1. So click and Alt-click will give me some great tools for just drilling down and manipulating my search results. Let's try a second search. In this case, I'm going to look for the word fail star or error. And in this case, I want to look at data across the last 30 days. So in my time picker, I'll choose last 30 days. You can hit enter, or you can hit the little search button to make the search start. Wow, I have a lot of data in the last 30 days, 22,060 events. Notice that I also can see a timeline that appears here above my individual search results. This timeline, if I mouse over individual bars, will tell me how many events happen at a particular point in time. It's also very convenient if I want to go back to a particular day. So since I have 22,000 events, if you look down below, you can see that even though I'm showing 50 events per page, I've got many, many pages. If I wanted to look back at some of my earlier events, let's say the ones that happened on December 27th, I might have to page a long way back for that. I can very easily jump to just those events by clicking on the bar. Now notice there are 1,986 events at this time, and down below, that's exactly what we're looking at, are the 1,986 events from Tuesday, December 27th. When I want to go back to see all of the 22,000 events again, notice above the timeline I can choose deselect to go back. So the timeline's a really quick way of also paging through your results and just looking at really specific data. So to summarize, when you type in Splunk search bar, be sure and select a reasonable time range for your search. Remember to capitalize any booleans that you might need. Also remember that clicking on the timeline and within the search results themselves will help you drill down and narrow your search. Thanks, and happy Splunking!